I'm asking all of you to please contact your Congress members and let them know that you don't want your tax dollars going to slaughtering our wild horses and burros. Trump has slashed the wild horse budget, which opens the door to allowing these horses to go to slaughter. The SAFE Act that you see up there, Safeguard America's Food Export Act, would stop horse slaughter in the United States once and for all. And it's very important for two reasons. One, we don't slaughter our companion animals. Number two, the horse meat contains very dangerous drugs that are very dangerous for human consumption. And there's no amount of money that can test each animal. And also, it's not a humane method, the way they slaughter these animals. These wild horses belong to the American people, and they need to be returned. The 50,000 in holding that the BLM has rounded up all these years purposely on the provocation of the ranchers who tell them that they're overpopulated and that they're destroying the environment and they need to be removed. It's all a big lie because horses fertilize the earth. When they digest their food, they don't destroy the seeds, so they actually reseed the landscape as they go, whereas cattle, with their very powerful ruminant stomachs, destroy the seeds, and therefore they do not reseed. Horses have been found in fossils in Carlsbad thousands of years ago. Indeed, it's now been proven that horses are native to North America, and before white man came, there was no such thing as horses destroying the environment. So it is BLM and the cattle ranchers that are telling the public that these horses are destroying the environment and need to be removed so that they can have every last blade of grass for their cattle and livestock. So unless you contact your Congress member by the thousands, they are going to use your tax money to slaughter these horses. They've already removed 50,000 of them. They lie about their numbers. BLM has already been caught lying to the American public about the fact that they don't send these horses to slaughter when they do. Now, this is a private horse herd. I don't know where this comes from, but some wonderful person who owns a lot of property somewhere in this world has donated it to the wild horses. And there are pockets where there's still a few there's some stallions left, but BLM is rapidly destroying all bloodlines and eradicating them because BLM has been influenced greatly by the ranchers due to your meat habit. $124 million are spent to kill our wildlife. I want to thank Congressmember Panetta for co-sponsoring the SAFE Act to stop horse slaughter in this country and to make sure that our horses, both wild and domestic, do not go to foreign countries for slaughter. Any Congress member that does not support this legislation does not care about your health or anyone's health. All they care about is money being pocketed by the rich lobbyists that give them money. Contact Congressman Adderholt or go on his Facebook page. You can just Google him. He's a very powerful Congress member that allocates your tax dollars to the wild horses. He's from Alabama, and more horses, wild horses, are warehoused in Alabama than any other state. And he is pro-horse slaughter. So unless he's contacted by thousands of us, he is going to go along with the ranchers that lie and say horses are destroying the environment and need to be removed. Wild horse roundups cost the taxpayer yearly about $89 million or $80 million. And they don't need to be removed. Left to their own devices, they need to propagate and fertilize our land. And if you go across America, you can see evidence of the vast, lonely, empty places where there should be millions of buffalo, millions of horses, millions of antelope and deer. Horses should be wild, and horses should be free to roam in all of our public lands, whether it's national forests, whether it's our public lands, wherever. That's where horses and burros should be allowed to be, just as deer are, and antelope and elk. And they should not be hunted, because we do not cannibalize our companion animals. And horses brought us through history on their backs. "600 meat inspectors were laid off due to budget cuts, while millions are spent rounding up our wild horses." What does this say to the American people? It says that your Congress member, unless he's co-sponsoring the SAFE Act, is more interested in a foreign industry and cruelty and savagery and lacks respect for your health and the health of others, all for money in his pockets. And I hope you'll vote him out. Contact Senator Murray and Senator Cantwell if you're Washington residents. They both need your support to stop horse slaughter. They do not support the SAFE Act, although Senator Cantwell has been very good in trying to prevent horse slaughter by not allocating our tax dollars to reinstate horse meat inspection in this country, which is the only thing that's keeping the doors closed right now. But she needs your support because she's getting a lot of calls from the Yakima tribe to reinstate horse slaughter. And I talked to Megan Thompson, who is her animal liaison, and she did not seem to know very much about this whole wild horse issue. And that's her number, that's the switchboard. You can ask for her office. Now, there is a provision now in the 2018 omnibus budget that is allowing for our wild horses that are in holding and on land, on our public lands, to be overseen by the states. Humane Society of the United States is supporting this and should not be. Their reasons that they're supporting this is they're saying that under this provision, they've worked very, very hard to make sure that each horse throughout its lifetime never goes to slaughter. But they could have worked for that provision to strengthen the Wild Free Roaming Horse and Burro Act. Because right now, after a year of someone buying a wild horse, they can then take it to auction and a kill buyer can buy it. So they could have put that provision in the Wild Free Roaming Horse and Burro Act and strengthened it. The Burns Amendment unstrengthened the Wild Free Roaming Horse and Burro Act, so they can amend the Wild Horse Act anytime they want. But instead, the HSUS went along with this provision. So I'm hoping if you're a supporter of HSUS that you call them and tell them you're not going to give your money to them anymore. because it is my belief, my personal belief and opinion, that they have been greatly influenced by the cattle and ranching industry to open the doors towards a more lenient way for these horses to go to slaughter. There is no way that they can police every horse in every state that for the rest of their lives. It's going to cost millions and millions and millions of dollars. So it's just a bunch of bullpucky. Senator Patty Murray is a very, very influential senator. She's part of the 7 that were picked to find ways to find budget cuts. And if you tell her that we need to return our wild horses to the land, to let them fertilize and propagate and be wherever they want to be. Look at how the empty spaces in the background there. You know, I mean, it's just amazing how empty our landscape is across America of horses and burros and elk and deer and bison. But you do see Angus cattle. So those of you who cannot give up your meat habit, which is the #1 reason why our wild horses and all the wildlife on our public lands are being removed, because the cattle ranchers lobby Congress to remove them so that they can get the lion's share of the land, even though they already have the lion's share. But if you have to eat meat, please look up in your area private ranchers who are raising their beef on private lands and support them, give them their money. It's so important that you do this, folks. And there's an example of a private rancher raising beef on private lands, Terra Firma Farms, and that's their number. If you live in California, you can call them and they'll tell you where you can buy their meat. And they're doing it in a very ecological way, too. So, not that raising meat is ecological, but at least they're doing it in a way that's not destroying our public lands and taking away our wildlife. And that's very important. Congressman Adderholt funnels your money. He's the chairman of the Appropriations Committee in the Department of Interior. Big horse advocate for horse slaughter. So it's important to contact him and tell him that you do not want your tax dollars going to slaughtering our wild horses. Because as 2018, under Trump, our wild horses, all 50,000 of them and more, will be going to slaughter. And they're calling it humane euthanasia by gunshot. That's the policy BLM has told me they will use. There's a project called Respectful Life Project. It's the Catholic Church should be teaching vegan alternatives, not the perpetuating of a poisonous horse slaughter meat culture. They're saying they're going to do research into more humane methods of slaughter, but you cannot humanely slaughter a horse. They move their heads too fast. And I will demonstrate that to you at the end of this program. I'm encouraging ranchers to ask their Congress members to give them tax credits. In fact, BLM will actually pay for wild horses to be on your property. So I would contact them and start rescuing as many horses as you can. In my opinion, Mr. Trump is the most dangerous and indeed cruel person to lead our country. If he cared about the people, he wouldn't have the elderly have to pay the lion's share of health care. He lied to the American people, saying that he would keep provisions in for pre-existing conditions, and now he's set that aside. This man is destroying our earth, and we're allowing him to. So if we don't warrior up, folks, your drinking water is going to be like Flint, Michigan, all over. He's pulling all monies away and giving it to the rich. That's the kind of man he is. And in my opinion, that's very evil. It's anti-life. And so everything falls down in his wake. But he can change his mind. With enough prayer, with enough calls, with enough self-sacrifice, not eating meat, only buying from private ranchers, calling the American Cattle Association and letting them know that you will not support meat grown on public lands. If you do your part, we can change things. So you can type in National Cattlemen's Beef Association and political actions, call to action, about us, contact us, and there's the number. So I'm going to call them right now, and I'm going to give them my 2 cents and tell them that I'm not going to support their industry until they leave our public lands alone. And I hope that you do the same. Yes, Sherry, my name is Lorna Moffett, and I just want you to know that I am not going to buy any beef from any producer other than private ranchers from now on. I am horrified at what the cattle ranchers are doing to our public lands and our wildlife and our wild horses and burros. So I am asking all my friends, I'm going on Facebook, and we are starting a huge national campaign to ensure that what's left of our wildlife is still viable.
Okay, let me let you talk to Darren. Is that okay?
Uh-huh.
One moment.
So now we're at the National Cattlemen's Association, and I'm talking to this person, and we'll see what he has to say.
This is Darren Williams. I'm either away from my desk or on another line. Please leave a message after the tone, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If this is urgent, please try me on my mobile phone at 303-241-2419. Thanks.
After the tone, please record your message. When you finish recording, hang up or press the pound key for more options.
Yes, Darren, my name is Lorna Moffett, and I just want you to know that I will not be buying any meat. I'm boycotting all meat that's grown on public lands, And I'm asking all my friends and my listeners as well on television to just buy from private ranchers. I'm horrified that our wild horses and burros are up for slaughter. I know the ranchers are very influential in destroying our wildlife on public lands. The bison, the wild horses, I've seen all the lies that you perpetuate about our wild horses, and I don't know what else to do. But I'm asking people just to boycott meat and only go and buy from private ranchers. So I hope you spread the word that your cattlemen or your ranchers need to start using the land that is privately owned. And if you are going to go on public lands, you just stay within the Taylor Grazing Act of your 152 million acres that is allocated specially towards cattle, and leave our wild horses and burros and our bison alone. Thank you. So that's kind of what you do. And it's just a crime what's going on, folks. And so now the last part of my program is to prove to you that the BLM's method of gunshot is not going to be humane, because horses move their heads. So the BLM, Jason Luterman sent me the policy, gunshot, that means a .22. They're going to tie them in trailers, or they're going to try and tie them to a post. That's called restraining, and then they're going to have someone shoot them. Well, the horses move their head. You know, they hear something, they move it. So how many times do they shoot them? And even when they shoot them with a .22, they still don't always kill them. So it's not humane. And they're going to be spending millions of our tax dollars to kill the last of our wild horses. This is what the ranchers want. And then they get all that land for themselves. So we've got to fight back, folks. And the best way to do it is not give them your money. That's the only way. Thank you for watching. Now this horse whinnies twice after it's shot. This is how Trump is going to be killing your wild horses and mine. Because the cattle ranchers lobby your Congress members. So you can see the horse moving his head. He knows what's going on. He wants to trust, but he doesn't. He knows what's going on. They're fight to the death. It's murder you're watching. And Trump is going to be doing it. Now listen to the whinny. Still winning, calling out for help for you and I. And that's what these wild horses are going to go through. Shame on America. Disgraceful. Please contact your Congress members. Urgently need them to co-sponsor the SAFE Act to stop horse slaughter in this country with your tax dollars. Save our wild horses and burros and have them return to the land where they can fertilize the earth. Horse staring into suspended butchering area. Horse being inaccurately shot on left side of the neck. Wound showing incorrect placement of captive bolt pistol. It's so disgusting, folks. Now this horse was shot 11 times before it went down. And I show you this just so that you can understand that with a .22, even though you shoot them, you still can't kill them right away. He's been shot once, comes back and shoots him again. And so anyone who can just allow this to happen, no wonder there's karma on our souls. No wonder people who eat meat are getting all kinds of Alzheimer's and diseases of the heart and diabetes and obesity and turning into walking zombies. That have no care for anything and no energy to do anything for the planet or themselves or anyone else. This is how Trump, your president, is poised to kill these horses. Gunshot wound, and the gunshot is a .22. It's the equivalent to a stun gun. And even though he's stunning them over and over and over again, and even though they'll shoot them over and over and over again, sometimes they won't die right away. Is this how you want your America's wild horses to be treated? Are you just going to stand there and let it happen? Or are you going to pick up the phone? And are you going to start eating meat just from private ranchers? Are you going to give up meat? Are you going to have the guts to do it? I hope so. Gonna do it again. And a lot of times they have to skin him alive because they regain consciousness. That's how bad it is. Keep America free. Keep yourselves free. Contact Trump. Contact your Congress members. And tell them you want your wild horses and burros returned to the lands taken away from them. Water. And that wraps it up for now, folks. I hope that you will do your part. Thanks for watching Meet America.